Now, a couple of weeks ago, student Dominique Harrison-Bentzen found herself stuck in the middle of Preston when she realised she hadn't got a bank card. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, she'd been on a night out, and help came from an unlikely source. A homeless man offered his last £3 so she could get home safely.
Well, Dominique didn't take the money, but she was so moved by his gesture that she decided to spend a night on the streets of Preston and get people to sponsor her to raise money for the homeless. She did it last night, and so far she has raised a staggering £25,000. Dominique is here with us now.
Still awake?
You haven't slept yet, have you?
No, I've not been to bed yet.
How are you feeling?
I feel, do you know what, I have quite a lot of energy, but I think I'm just so ecstatic about everything.
Well, I would imagine the fact that you've managed to raise £25,000 is pretty keeping you going, keeping the adrenaline going.
Yeah, definitely, considering that when I started I only set the target at £500 and my mum said that was too ambitious, so it's crazy, it really is.
So let's go back a couple of weeks. You find you haven't got your bank card. A homeless man called Robbie offers to help you.
Yeah, that's correct.
You didn't do that, but you've kept a dialogue with him, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, we've built up quite a strong relationship, I'd like to say. It's just amazing to find out all the other things that he's done. He genuinely is a really kind-hearted man. I mean, I was really touched by what he did for me, but just speaking to the community of Preston, we found out that he's done a lot more honest acts, so people have dropped the wallet, he's picked it up in honesty, which might not necessarily is something you'd expect him to do in his circumstances. He's even offered his scarf out to people when they've been cold coming out of, you know, the nightclubs at night.
So the whole experience, it must have had a real effect on you and the way that you think about human nature, really.
Yeah, I mean, when I left that night, when I eventually did get a taxi, and thank you to whoever that was who let me share it with them, I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't get it out of my head. I thought, a man with so little that I've probably, in all honesty, walked past and not spoken to him before, offered me. He was the only one that... I was there for quite a while before.
So you've raised all this money. What's he going to do with it?
Well, that is what I want to say to everybody. Firstly, thank you so much for donating, but as well, do not worry that, you know, money is going to be handled responsibly. I'm dealing with professional organisations. First and foremost, we deal with, as promised, getting the accommodation for Robbie. And then with Robbie's blessing, it was actually his idea if we could donate the money to non-profit organisations in Preston who've, you know, such as food banks, soup kitchens, who've helped him along the way. So it's just amazing that we're not only now changing Robbie's life, but other people in Preston as well.
It's a fantastic story.
It's a real Christmas story, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Well done for doing it.
Thank you.
And well done to Robbie as well, because he started it all off, didn't he, with his generosity.
Thanks, Dominic.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Sleep well.
Yes, I'm sure she will.
Next, though, the touching story of an act of kindness that shows just how kind-hearted people can be here in our region.
When university student Dominique Harrison-Bentzen lost her bank card on a night out in Preston, she wondered how she was going to get home without the money for a taxi.
Yeah, then up stepped a homeless man calling himself Robbie, who offered her his last £3. Dominique couldn't bring herself to take the cash, but it got her thinking of a way to help homeless people. Dominique is with us now. Dominique, thanks ever so much for coming in today. An incredible act of kindness from a man called Robbie. Just briefly tell us a bit of what that was like.
Well, obviously, as you explained, when I came out of the nightclub, I couldn't believe that I'd lost my bank card, had no way of getting home, I had no battery on my phone to text anybody. And when he approached me, I just couldn't believe that a man who obviously faces ignorance every day, and, you know, I've probably walked past him myself sometimes, I couldn't believe that he was the first person to offer his help to me and give me everything he had, basically.
So this made you think, right, I'm going to do something to help, and you've been doing stuff to help. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, well, at first I just wanted to spread positive awareness, and then when I found out about all the other acts of kindness he'd done, I set up an online event which was 24 hours to sleep homeless in Preston, and I invited as many people as possible on the Facebook event to join in. So we did that on Tuesday night, and I asked people to sponsor me £3, and that was in reflection of the £3 that Robbie gave me. But I set out a goal of £500, and now we are at a massive difference of like £31,000 in a week, and it's absolutely incredible, but I can't believe how quickly this is.
And you were telling us earlier that you're still quite tired, a little bit spacey, having been up all night, and then... What was it like being out there, though?
Yeah, well, in the daytime, it was actually quite inspiring, and it was really warming to hear how people in Preston felt so passionate about the cause and speaking to them. I also enjoyed meeting other homeless people like Robbie and hearing their stories. But I'm not going to lie, when it got dark, you could tell the atmosphere changed a little in the group. It was cold, it was wet, we felt a little vulnerable.
It's isolating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being on your own with nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's difficult because every time we tried to get comfortable somewhere, we were moved along, or we moved because we didn't feel it was safe to stay there. But we eventually settled down just in front of a church where quite a lot of other homeless people sleep. So it was amazing to talk to them as well.
The Chief Constable of Greater Manchester only recently has said that we shouldn't give money to homeless people, that the money will be spent wrongly in the wrong areas. When you hear that, now you've been out there, now you're raising money, what do you think about that?
Well, I couldn't disagree more. I actually...
Why?
It frustrates me a little bit. I mean, I think people, a big problem is people are so negative sometimes towards the homeless people. People have preconceptions and think, well, if I give them money, where's it going to go? Are they going to invest it? But after spending 24 hours out there, there is so many people like Robbie who are kind-hearted people who are homeless through no fault of their own, and a lot of them aren't going to spend it on things that we might think they are. And it's just upsetting that he thinks that, because it's difficult for them to get out of that situation. So without our help, it really is a struggle.
Dominique, thanks ever so much for coming in. Maybe get some sleep now.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Not at all. And you can check out Dominique's fundraising effort on our website. That's itv.com/Granada.